2 weeks ago, Deadlock released a ranked update that added a new specific dedicated ranked queue, a clear and obvious point system that conveys how and when you will rank up or down, an extra ban, and a soft reset of the previous ranks, as well as some reworks. While the ranked mode has some quirks, I find it to be pretty good. You have clear expectations of what you're getting into, you now have less cryptic and pointlessly unnecessary ranks at the lower ends of the game, and I found that the matchmaker does a pretty good job of making fair matches. The other major addition of the update was a split queue. Since previously ranked and unranked were basically the same thing, you now have to have an unranked mode. And that is the topic of today's video, because I think it has many more issues than the ranked mode currently does. My name is October, and we need to have a serious talk about Deadlock standard mode. Now, I'm not super plugged into the communities, as I don't often get on things like Reddit or spend hours perusing the Discord, so my opinion may be a commonly held one, or I may have missed the mark completely. But regardless, I have a lot of thoughts as someone who has spent more time playing standard than ranked since it came out. Firstly, I think there is still a bit of confusion about what kind of experience to expect when queuing in standard mode. This mainly has to do with the way that standard mode is currently used as a vehicle to shuttle you to the ranked mode. As you know, you need a minimum of 60 wins on your Deadlock account to unlock the ranked mode to begin with, but you also need a minimum of 15 wins on 3 different characters to even attempt to queue into a game, plus 15 more on any other characters you want to unlock after that. Why is this relevant? Well, it means that you're encouraged to not just try in the standard mode, but try super hard if you're trying to unlock new characters. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, there's nothing wrong with wanting to try, and I'm not vouching for people who are only running troll builds or inting their brains out, but it can lead to a lot of frustration. Due to the fact that you're forced to win 15 games on a character to even attempt to queue them in ranked, you're having to play a long time in the standard mode, where some people are like you, learning. Others might just be trying to have a good time. This can be very frustrating if you feel like you're performing well enough to have won and be ready to take your character to ranked at your elo, but your team just isn't winning. Maybe they weren't taking it seriously, or they're at different points of the learning their character journey. It could be their very first game ever on Billy, while it's your 25th on Venator, and you perform well, but they perform quite badly. Sure, you don't lose any rank, but you're now having to queue into another, likely minimum 30-minute game to only get one step closer to finally being able to play that character in ranked. This can lead to a lot of toxicity that's just not really necessary. Sure, you shouldn't be toxic in the games that don't matter, but when you're trying to get a character to the games that do matter, and you're on your 16th hour on the character, you kind of have a right to be upset, especially if your teammates are just running it down. So, how long does it take to unlock a character in ranked if you have 0 games won on them? Well, let's do some quick math. I'll use my account. I have 849 games played with 441 games won, rounding out to about a 52% win rate. So if I play every character to that win rate exactly, starting from 0 wins, I will need a minimum of 29 to 30 games to even attempt to queue into ranked on that character. For the sake of quick math, let's say I play 29 games. 10 of those games are stomps that end at 25 minutes, 10 of those games are pretty standard length at 35 minutes, 9 of those games are long at 45 minutes. That estimation brings us up to about 17 hours of gameplay on one character just to unlock them in ranked. That's not even including if you queue into a game where the character is banned, or somebody leaves, and then you're forced to play for even longer to unlock that character. For most players, this is going to be a weeks-long grind, and this also doesn't take into consideration how it might take longer to learn some characters that have higher skill floor requirements, like Celeste, or Lash, or Mo and Crow. Nah, I'm just kidding. But seriously, I have a job, and on a day where I'm super locked into playing Deadlock, I can play like 4 to 5 games a day max. So assuming I get a perfect streak of days where I can play 5 games a day, I'm playing a minimum of 6 days to get this unlocked, on only one character, in standard mode. I understand Deadlock doesn't do things quite like every other game, as I assume you've seen as well if you've heard about the backlash to the lack of a draft. And the hero-specific MMR thing is unique. But I still think it's a bit unreasonable to expect someone to play roughly 17 hours on a character to even be able to queue them into ranked at all. Like I mentioned, this long, tedious grind is what I consider part of the frustration that leads to some pretty toxic standard lobbies. Honestly, more so than the ranked lobbies I've played in. Could it just all be trolls and losers? Yes, but I think some of them, no, most of them, are fed up with the intense, grueling grind. I have a couple of solutions, because each does come with their own problems. But before I get to the new character unlock requirements, if you're enjoying this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does help out. Now, on to the rest of the video. Firstly, remove bans from standard. I get that we don't want to play against the meta heroes even in unranked, but when you're locking the ability to play characters in ranked behind wins in standard mode, it's ridiculous to have bans. Yeah, it sucks to have to play against McGinnis, or Celeste, or whoever your pet peeve character is, but you wouldn't want the character you're grinding for to be banned just as much as they don't. Especially since you're not technically guaranteed to get them anyways, thanks to the game's hero priority system. As for the new milestones to unlock the characters in ranked, my first suggestion is win 10 games on a character, or play 20 games on a character. This helps with a few things. With this, you're subtracting about 5 to 6 hours of games at the very maximum, while still giving players the ability to unlock characters earlier if they play well. There are a lot of similar archetypes of characters, and I don't think that some people will need 20 games to play one hyper carry or the other. So if they perform super well, they can unlock the character for ranked earlier. But even if you're struggling super bad, you're only having to play 20 games instead of 30 or more depending on your win rate. Now, this does still come with its issues, as having the ability to unlock characters earlier could still make people super toxic if their teammates aren't performing to their standards, because no one likes having their time wasted. Which leads me to the second solution, which is even more forgiving. You only need to play 15 games on a character to unlock them for ranked, or you need to have 7 wins on the character to unlock them for ranked. You'll still have some toxicity here, but most players won't be as annoyed having to play 15 games as opposed to 30, even if their teammates aren't performing super well, and you can unlock a character super early if you play well on them and get a good team. However, you still sort of have the same issue from my first solution, because it's technically the same requirements, just with a lower number. Which leads me to my third solution. Simply remove the win requirement at all, and have a 15 games played requirement to unlock a hero in ranked. You remove the potential stress of having to worry about wins, and even though you have to do your time still, you know what that number is, and regardless of how you or your teammates perform, you'll have your character unlocked in ranked after 15 games. After a lot of thinking, I think this is probably the best solution. One theory, you're going to have more people just running it down, running troll builds, than being able to more quickly grief ranked games if they already have it unlocked. You're never going to fully get rid of those people anyways. I think the cost is worth the reward of not forcing people into 150 hours of standard queue to unlock like 10 characters from 0 wins. I've played about 15 games on Billy, and I feel like while he's not my best character, I could play him competently in my ranked games if I wanted to. But as of right now, I'm only at 7 wins, which means I need at least double the amount of time I've already invested. And don't worry, I counted it and did the math for you. I've already played Billy for 8.5 hours. Besides, even if you can unlock a character and don't feel ready to take them into ranked, you can just play them for longer in standard. No harm, no foul. You're not tanking anyone's win rate, and you're only technically wasting your own time. So in conclusion, Deadlock Standard Mode in its current form is what I would consider a mildly frustrating experience. This is because people are super angry that they aren't winning, and they know they need wins to unlock their characters for the ranked mode, or to just unlock the mode in general. People are always going to be dicks, but either lowering or removing the win requirement and adding a maximum amount of games played to unlock characters in ranked should help alleviate some of that stress, and thus, hopefully, contribute to less toxic standard lobbies. So that about does it for the video. I hope you've enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts about the current form of standard mode, and my solutions, as well as your own, in the comments below. I upload videos daily here, so maybe check out some of those too while you're here, especially if you happen to enjoy mid-gameplay. Have a good one. Peace.